Episode 2. Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder.
Rhea first.
Bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
It's a danger noodle. 9th of January, 6:37 a.m. on board the steamship Buria. Oh, hi, that's a fancy eye,
So,
Dad.
let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality.
Boy.
This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. An cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
I am confused and befuddled. That was a lot of information at once. Ugh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move? Bruh, am I getting accused for murder again? Again? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the cabin wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. Duh. We found you, and now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Sorry? Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I would like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato. Wait, what did you say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Is Kazuma dead? Ha, you pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama. Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Does this happen in every Ace Attorney series? The person who helps you through your first trial just dies? What? Here in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. In these handcuffs, surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. No! Kazuma, it was really just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it funny being fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else would you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here early, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor, I thought I was gonna die. Yes, and I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Dang. Rude. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about time that that the steward's supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there. I think it won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? And I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murder. I'm not a murderer. Da, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. The bolt is broken. Susato-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there's something I would like to ask of you, too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via the porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from the outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit could have only been somebody inside this cabin. Oh, I'm so confused. Or do you have some other explanation? This isn't possible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still gonna deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. You have to. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. Okay, about the incident. Can't anyone tell me what exactly happened in here? Happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Why are you like this? Are you gonna keep pressing me on this? Whatever you say, you were in here, and you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but he would always wake before dawn to do his training, first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. This morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at the cabin door, I wonder? Yo, what's up, Luce? Apparently our best friend is murdered, and, we're convicted. We're being accused of murder. Again. I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when he managed to get inside... Did Kazuma know Russian? There was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. As in the lawyer guy? Yeah, the one with the flowy red ribbon things. And the white tape there shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything happened. I must have been asleep inside the wardrobe somehow. Beans. Let me fix that real quick. Thank you for pointing it out. There we go. Chat should be there now. No chat? I chat. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. All this is very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yeah, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yeah. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been told to shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabins for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yeah, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I am afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Cosmo, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? You chat, we chat. It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yeah, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. That I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development and the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Oh. And Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought he could do that with you. Perhaps he thought he could do that with you. Yeah, maybe. Something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san? I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Itchy nose. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. Then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. And after that, I fell asleep. Well, yeah. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yeah. I know it sounds unbelievable, really I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Was I drugged? The food was drugged. Surely. Is something wrong? No. It's... Please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could have possibly done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma's son was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. Now I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Oh, what do you propose to do then? I'm gonna investigate. I'm gonna find out exactly what happened here. I'm gonna work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to excuse me. Hiya! Did I just get chucked? What the? And that was a Susato takedown. I'm... Okay. Susato, what? What martial art form is that? I'm gonna need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yeah, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now. Proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. I can't place this on the wardrobe after I've already gone in it. I'm a student. Wait. I'm a student. I couldn't have done it. Alright, then how about this? Can't trick me with something irrelevant like that. Oh. Better try to come up with something more convincing, otherwise I get the feeling she'll throw me on the floor all over again. Probably. The way you're looking at me. I think perhaps I didn't throw you hard enough. No, it was definitely hard enough. Let me show you something else. I have to get... Believe me. Show her some evidence. Oh, that's not what I want.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was it this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yeah, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside, so naturally, he did the same last night as well. Oh. Well, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled the sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yeah, that's true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? After chucking me so coldly to the ground. What is this thing? Is it like a turkey leg or something? Well, in light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. Wait, what does she think I am? A magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, should make a start on investigating in here, examine everything I can. I swear, I will avenge your death. I'm a student. Susato-san, about this. I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. But we don't have time to waste on anything else. We must find clues. Oh. She does look serious. Quite deadly serious. Okay. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. The student thing still didn't work. Pens are also strictly forbidden. They didn't say anything about stowaways. What? What are you staring at me? Or why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Yeah, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you? I'm sure you carefully look around using the B and M, don't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Okay. Yeah. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Can I just, like, click it? Yeah. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. Looks as though his last entry is incomplete. Which means what? He was in the middle of writing when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. Maybe it could be a valuable clue. Hiya! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important, something relevant to the case? Alright. I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? What is this? It's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog. Susato-san, I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean... Does poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now suddenly I have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oh, I guess the knife was for the chicken. Sword. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on the ship. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal is asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke? He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Maybe something out of the ordinary did happen. What is this? Seigi. Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy was always a reflection of his heart. Yet, can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you're stowed away on the ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yeah, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm pretty sure everything was still... Oh, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama? No. I was drugged. Clearly. Nothing in the bib. Wardrobe. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh no, I suppose not. Although, it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in, so yeah, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Yes, it's bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? I thought that sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. Oh no. Oh no, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. It's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-san doing his morning sword training, you think? I seriously doubt that. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. The way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. That's tampering with crime scene? Why would you do that? That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes. I see it says this way up in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't have been able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than Susato takedown. Just got my Stream Live notification on the phone. I didn't know if you knew this, Luce, but I am live. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot down from his desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in this village. Poor Kazuma-san. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. Delay much at Twitch, Madge. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Stream did a fart. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruto-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does that mean, I wonder? Yeah, I was thinking that too, Luce. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through the through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to, you're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough or something like that? I suppose maybe that's it. Sholmes? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he's investigating Cosmo's desk. Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it? Or does Sato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expected you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshair, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. I'm not done examining the room, though. What do you think this is? It looks like a piece of broken glassware. Whatever that thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. Wonder where the other half is. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuki fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has this sort of brick-like hue. Yeah, you're right. It's the color brick, isn't it? Isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. When I went for help, the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, not particularly sturdy. Just slides across to secure the door shut, but still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. She glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from the outside in a room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal. They seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Is that everything? I think that's everything. Can't converse. Sholmes, what are you doing? Excuse me? Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Hi! What exactly are you doing on Cosmo's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry, what do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing forward in foreign climates, towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. No. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. What? And when the beriband occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now, nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did. I'm not Russian. What? And you're plotting a revolution too? It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way Yeah. Yeet. Now, explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction is that? Were you just saying the first thing that came into your head? Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yeah, maybe. Ha, there you have it, you see? What do you make of that, hmm? Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder, so I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction. It's more of a plain observation. Indeed, and observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I am right. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Sholmes. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Sholmes? The very same. The inimitable, actual Sherlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Before we started talking, you were examining Cosma's desk, weren't you? Cosma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Oh, London Diary. Cosmo was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonged to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of this writing? Pray, be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So, what was all this showing off about before then? If you'd be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it for you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, dear madam. The final entry here in Cosmo-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. So he was bitten by a snake. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard of that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects the adjoining cabin. Yeah, the adjoining cabin. Cosmo's diary has been entered into the record. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Oh. Airlock. I see. No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rants magazine full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah yes, here it is, The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes. So you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you are really a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? And doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. I wouldn't. Just given the Russian thing. Deduction, you see, is a science. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeve, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So, you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. His name is Holmes, yes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Sherlock Holmes. I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. So it sounds like to me you're just some person who doesn't really like to follow the rules and wants to get things done first, but, you know, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You just need a story out of it, and that doesn't sit well with me. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? What were these two facts? Mr. Holmes, tell us, please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate, please. The two facts that I had deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. This guy reminds me of all of those, like, people who are there to sell you on, like, the Ponzi schemes or pyramid schemes, whatever, and they'll, like, tell you everything except what actually happens unless you really press them for it, and it's kind of annoying. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. And that is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head for this young Russian man. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Gardrob may be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong to not look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly? Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I am Russian too? I observed that you are wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you are acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yeah, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph has been added to the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? I can't read Russian. I think... No, I don't know. How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Yes, the more sordid details. It was fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary villain Borshchev flees Russia via Shanghai. That looks nothing like me. Are you daft? That's frustrating. This vessel made a port of call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. I've been here for 2 weeks. Your investigation is assumptions, not accurate claims. You don't, like, confirm things with people. Do a proper investigation, you dolt. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary, one who had killed the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Violenj Borshchev. No, Borshevik. Like Huarzo before. That's a typo for the century. No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. So you expect me to be a shapeshifter? I want to smack this man with the handcuffs, just. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he has plotted. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subservient activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Can I smack you with it? Learn you some knowledge about asking people their names? Thank you. I have absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Did he just call me a trash can? This trash for brains has called me a trash can. The irony. And you may find the article on the back of the page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eyes over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere else to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. Sherlock Holmes from Wish.com. Yep. The matter warrants further investigation, I do believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exulsion. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No. That would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you the culprit at any point. Huh? You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. You are the culprit. You must play the part more convincing. If you are the culprit, you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. What? Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Hmm? You must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Are you forgetting something about these? There's no way I can... Hey-ya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? Just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigating to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for the chance to sleep next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. I owe it to Kazuma-san to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Is that... Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? No, it's just that crewman standing over by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Is that Hosonaga? Oh my god, it is. But it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Is that why you cough up blood, because you have heart issues? I nearly stopped, I hope. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy your undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. Never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Mr. Hosonaga, I am a student. Wait, I keep doing this. I am a student. Here is my badge. Inspector, can I show you this? What the? Is that the fabled Imperial Yume University pin badge? It does something? I'm not sure if it's really fabled exactly, but... So, you're a genuine student then? Sorry? Nothing like me. With my regular schooling, you're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please? I'm surprised that actually did something. Why do I do this? What about this? This is the paper seal that was stuck over the wardrobe doors this morning, wasn't it? That's right, trying to stop the cabin steward opening it up and discovering me. Wouldn't it have been better to write it in English if you didn't know Russian? Maybe, but ufta paper amulets are like... But ufta paper... Ofuda paper amulets like this are part of our culture, Inspector. I thought if I made it look creepy enough, people would be too scared to want to look inside. It isn't easy being a stowaway, is it? And what's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me, the ventilator is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. I need to not give him the judge's voice. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. What about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I am a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life down... And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Yeah. Bork. Have you seen this photograph yet, Inspector? Oh dear, are you alright, Inspector? Yes, sorry, I'm fine. I was hoping to hide my upset. With a fit of coughing and sputtering, I'm usually very good at it. But trying to stifle my feelings seems to have stifled my cough this time. It's all so sad. Asogi-san was such a promising young man. The Empire had such high hopes for him. I even had high hopes for him. Need water. Need hydrate. Even though I'm just a detective. We're all gonna miss you, Kazuma-san. I keep... Frickin'... That's fine. You... I'm nothing like this man. I'm afraid I can't a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary Vailin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. What? I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you for the hydrate. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no. I mean, it looks like it might help. It might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. I'm glad you've noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? I feel you, dude. Foreign names are just difficult. It would appear the young woman was in costume when she was found to be missing it from her dress room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I am quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. She wants the money. The tiara is property of the Novovich Ballet, which would seem... It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even gonna dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay. Neat. Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector? I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well. Oh no, that's alright. I know what it says. So you just wanted to point out your university level linguistic talents, is that it? Sorry? Nothing like me. With my regular schooling, you're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Sorry, forget I mentioned it. This is gonna be the same thing, isn't it? I'm sorry, we can't read Russian very well. Yeah. Can I, like... Special orders. So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jikoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even be a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been aboard. From morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So, if there's anything I can do to help now, just say the word. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The cabin has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove these handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his... Oh, but this is the same conversation as before. Yeah, there you like little guy. You got that. Oh, it is this. 9th of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Burya. SS Burya, first class cabin passageway. Whew, finally out of the cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Oh, wait. Right, it's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in the steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look, over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. His shirt doesn't even cover him. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose, like, people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. Would you have thought you'd be used to the ship by now? We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yeah, I know, but the thing is, I've been in the wardrobe. I thought she would be smarter than this. I don't know why. I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. This looks like a plan of the SS Burya. 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 Not Burya. Burya. It shows each deck. Look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. It's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth. Many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Do they not know how islands work? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? And that's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. We might get a pupper. It looks as though it sets the alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is meant for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, the ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Is this a mousetrap? Hold on, I'm gonna go get Lou. I come bearing a pupper. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yeah, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? Wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat the past couple of weeks is Cosmo's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. I am here. Wait.
I am here. I heard there was cheese.
Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. That's nice. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator for which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh, excuse me, we, need to get inside this cabin here. The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's gonna let us pass. Well, that's a problem. There's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like this ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably, that means there was nothing to report. Excuse me, but can I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Look at her. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not a sailor. My mother gave me name. I am Senior Crewman Biff Stroganoff. Biff Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff. Ooh, best thing is to just avoid eye contact, I think. Oh, Mr. Stroganoff? About this first-class cabin area. Here we are, in the finest part of Buryash steamship, for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Duh. Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like duh. I think it's probably Russian for yes or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to... Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of Student Boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would not have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us where Mr. Roylott came aboard? When Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and we've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard of anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there was anyone there. Well, presumably since this gentleman's is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? All the time. All time. So criminal like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Oh. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. Did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Niet. Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh? It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yeah, alright. Bulkhead is second-class area. We're staying locked at all times. Is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistle on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. When the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. That is something I've never heard before. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Anything else? Did that. That book on top of the table there is really huge. Just pin with it too. Sure, that's the ship's log. Is that it? Okay. I don't know why I didn't put the check mark by it. First class cabin number 1. Yep, that's our cabin. Not our cabin. It's Kazuma-sama's. I'm sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in the steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... how many cabins are there? No, this was a mistake. Okay. One the ventilator connects to, blah blah blah. Knock, knock. No answer. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. And we're back. What was that? It was from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Watch it be Sherlock, or the, Herlock Sholmes. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes. I shan't be stopped when the fit is on me. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about. 9th of January, SS Buria, first class cabin number 2. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now. Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr... Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. This man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. but there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So, might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah, the case just shook. Leave now. Look at him. Or otherwise, I call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Sholmes? Sholmes is so weird. I swear, dude. What do you think you're doing? No. This is my cabin. Get out. Can we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. No. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service. Oh? And it would seem that hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian would react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? So this is like the Cyclops from the first series? Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be more of a hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on the accounts of his dubiousness? Sholmes? Sholmes, why are you the way that you are? I really don't know either of those things should be occurring to you or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes, I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read it's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh, I must have complete silence. Well, what are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are we good? That... Hi! Welcome back to story time. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Yeah. Oh no, Hodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholm's great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What in... Oh. What? Ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read all about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. It's like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both Sholmes' conclusions were right. Herlock Sholmes, I can't. How could you? How could I possibly know such things you wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction of the game is afoot. Old man's identity topical. So, the dubious looking Russian man, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place, the scissors, is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us right in the face. You are on the verge of using shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. No! No! He was so close. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper in particular, the fascinating front page article. in which it would appear you have also read, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decide to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond a doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Violin Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Okay. So he got to the identity thing. I wonder if that means we get the handcuffs taken off. Now, as for my second conclusion... Wait, I'm not tapped into the game. There we go. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. The proof of this crime is over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. I've taken unawares. People have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. I assure you that I speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. And so we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one light enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Quelle coupe de Doyle betrays you. I don't know what that word is. Anyway. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can be equally found in the pages of this newspaper. Excuse me. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction, and according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elementsky. He didn't get the beard thing right, but he was so confident it didn't matter, and I don't like that. Susato-san, that wasn't one of those great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know? But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article, and I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. To be fair, he looks more like him than the other, but, you know, than Ryunosuke does. Yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you. That man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. Yo, what's up, Funk? And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina? Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. The toupee of a man consuming vinegar daily in order to promote certain litheness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be the simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and logic that seem a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato. It's just 1 or 2 keywords in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives? What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Sholmes' greatest deduction. Precisely the thought that I was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. I don't know either. You should have been thrown off this boat long ago. It's not that funny. And you, my good fellow, sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists. What? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you're a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried, in fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. So the dubious-looking Russian Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches your eyes in the first place is clearly the shears. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us right in the face. I'm gonna save while I can. You are on the verge of using shears to cut away the copious beard. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means I suppose the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch out a keyword here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps the matter. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? I'll leave the rest in your capable hands. Am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott going to use those enormous shears for? I guess it's the hat? A very thick hat, isn't it? Ah, that's the secret. The secret? What? Well, before we left Japan, I took some time to study various foreign countries. Russia is a land of unimaginable cold. A thick hat is the secret to keeping warm. Without one, I read that your brain would freeze. That was just one of many fascinating snippets of information in Oh Mother, Not Russia. I think maybe you picked up the wrong book there. Are you looking at the buttons on his coat? Could it be that Mr. Roylott was planning to cut these off? Oh, why? Well, when you're wearing thick gloves, it can be very difficult to hard to undo buttons. Then you couldn't just take off your gloves first? Aha, so he was gonna use the scissors to cut his gloves off then. I want you to take a deep breath and look at this from a fresh perspective, Naruhodo-san. Oops, I think she's angry. Does it have to be on his body? I would assume. What is this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. Oh. Oh. I thought this was some weird cape due to how it was like clipping through. This is the runaway ballerina, disguised as a Russian. No, the color isn't the point. The point is, what is it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. It's so stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
I just want to see what happens if we present the wrong thing. For years, it must have been on the run in your homeland, and that hat has never left your head. As a result, almost unbelievably, your thick beard has woven itself. I'm gonna save here so I want to see all the stupid dialogue. Thick beard has woven itself Your thick beard has woven itself inextricably together with your hat. But now you have an itch. Somehow you must reach it, even if that means cutting the hat off. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting to never have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. Was this bearded Russian trying to cut off with his enormous shears? If we look carefully enough, perhaps we'll notice something that will give us a clue. We need to approach this from every angle. Yeah. Oh. I want to see all the stupid options, but I'm getting tired. And this investigation is taking forever. Boom. You were on the verge of using your shears to cut away your golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. I don't believe you, Sholmes. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one's still very much in her youth. No. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, then no one would have suspected. The question then begged to this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Sure, it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. No. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? No, that's true. Given Mr. Roylotz is actually a woman, exactly, he, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else, something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. Obviously. I'm a student. Here's my badge.
Yes!
Oh, there's not even, like, dialogue for it. Okay. There's not even... Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Is this one?
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet, disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Wrongdoing. Kidnapping of young ballerina. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime is over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. Oop. Hi. This woman is the ballerina. She's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. Do you want down? No? Oh, here. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. Yeah, you want down. In which case, what is the crime the young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm gonna have to step in and fix the great detective's mistakes again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Well, clearly it's the tiara. What is? It's a very small case, isn't it? You can see instantly that no person could possibly fit inside there. So does that tell us Miss Pavlova's telling glances in this direction is focused on something else? If that's true, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean? Well, if there's nothing incriminating inside this case, why did she refuse to let us look inside? Yes, I wonder why. Perhaps she has a perfectly harmless reason, though. Okay, well, this is the only other thing I can actually look at. Oh. We have this. The waste paper basket? Let's have a little look inside. Naruhodo-san, it's poor etiquette to go sifting through some of this rubbish, you know. Those eyes, she's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. It's just paper. There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh? Well, that's a little disappointing. Okay. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? She sits on the floor. I shall upload it to the Discord for all to see. Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently. It's literally on the thing here. The proof of your crime surely is this tiara. Huh? I believe this tiara was worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. No. Yes, you left behind your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Gunshot to the shoulder. I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia? It belongs to me. This girl's only 15 years old. She's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now. Wait. Come, let us not be hasty. Wait, there remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? What's in the trunk? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonably to conclude, therefore, that exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, There's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case even before I've even laid eyes on them. Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless Coupe d'Oil betrays you. What even is that word? Hold on, I'm looking up it and translate. French. Oh, look. Coupe d'Oil. Okay. Interesting. We need only follow the furtive glance to find the answers. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on your shelf. It's all knocked over in the exact same way. He's completely changed tact with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all of this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be a reason why she didn't open her case, and it must be somewhere in the same area if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. It's a charming little picture, isn't it? What is it? Someone climbing a steep mountainside? Or descending one, it seems to me. When you've been on the flat sea for a while, maybe you start seeing hills and mountains and everything. Oh, wait. Snake bite. Pet snake. It looks like these are all the same books we have in our cabin. I suppose the stewardess likes to make sure passengers have plenty to read for a long voyage. And when have you noticed how all the books have fallen over? And have you noticed how all the books have fallen over just like in Kazuma-sama's cabin? It's almost like someone's taken a sweep at them. Maybe Miss Pavlova while she was practicing her ballet? Anyway, the point is we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment. We couldn't even if we wanted to. They're all in Russian. Oh, that's a relief. Let's try our luck elsewhere. These are rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There was the exact same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Mr. Naruhodo. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving the time for weeks now, have I? It's a metal door, the same as in Kazuma's cabin. Yes, and a rather slim bolt is the same as well. Well, if Miss Pavlova was actually pet every time you come back. That's wild, honestly. We present this. She has a pet. She has a pet danger noodle. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins, and pets are also strictly forbidden. I'm out here causing damage. I stepped away for a few minutes. Stepped away to cause damage? Passengers must not keep other dangerous weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Apparently, yes. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would have moved of its own accord. Which leaves us but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. Bam! Ding! Deduction complete. Elementary. So clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not. Grimsby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet's company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Bury is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman, and you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream from inside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell, why, none other than this young lady naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. So I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself? So no one would recognize me? Yes. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man, I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then just before you came in here, I saw the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all of my hair as fastly as possible, and picked up the scissors in my hand, and at that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? Probably not. there's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You are right, it's my dear friend inside, my only friend in the world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew, your secret's safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, alright, I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something like Mr. Sholm's great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what, but at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. And one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. I have them again, don't I? I swear. Your hands are cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When and why? There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say. It can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. Do you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh, the man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh, that's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps the steam engine exploded. Sholmes? Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company. Oh, excuse me, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain. From there, I will go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I'll start a new life. Meow. Thank you for the hydrate. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition when you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no more money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yeah, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation to what conundrum. I'm not sure, but... Yeah. Miss Pavlova, allow me to... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Buria stopped by no port last night. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's it, of course. So, how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about the occupant of this cabin came aboard. Ugh. That is not your business. Yeah, you're right. You did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. I'm sorry, what was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. What? Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I can't resist the touch of a dramatic. I can't resist a touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. I don't believe you. A quote from the wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is gonna tell us what really happened. That's fine. Friend. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please don't tell any of the crew. If they found out my precious... Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. So, reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ha. Your credit to Russia is a land with small rabbits, do you? You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Don't they have small rabbits there, then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Moving on. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of a young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Sholmes? Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could testify the needs of sustenance. It could satisfy the needs of sustenance. I can read. Promise. So you eat your friends? I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. I'm a student. Here's my badge. Can I show you this? I'm actually a university student from the Empire of Japan, you see. That means nothing to me. No, why would it? Mr. Naruhodo, if you're determined to flaunt your Yume badge, at least choose a Japanese person who might recognize it. Miss Susano, can I show you this? Maybe later. Ooh, I could show Inspector Osanaga too. No one cares about your education. Nope, not a one. What about this tag? Miss Pavlova, would you take a look at this? I don't know. I don't know anything. Mr. Naruhodo, you're frightening the poor girl. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to. Miss Pavlova, would you take a look at this? I don't know. Okay. Do you know about this merciless revolutionary already? No. But when I saw the picture, I couldn't believe it. He looks just like me in my disguise. Oh? Am I the only one around here with eyes? The other man, the one wearing the brown, he also said so. He said we looked the same. Yes, he says a lot of things, but I have a strong feeling that besides you and the great detective, you won't find another soul on this ocean who thinks there's any similarly at all. Mr. Naruhodo, I won't allow you to speak ill of Mr. Sholmes. No, I wasn't dreaming of it. Yo. About this article. You look so beautiful, like a fairy. I'm scared if my picture is in the newspapers. You poor girl. She's so young, just 15 years old. For her to have run away all by herself, she must have felt very, very alone. I can't present profiles. Neat. Alright, this thing. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m., what looks to be like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabins are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled man the victim mentioned mean something to you, or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. No. Excuse me, Mr. Royla. Yes, what is it? Yes, what? Wow, she's so fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave, now. Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please, don't worry about yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out. The passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out. Ugh, it looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. And this is where I'm going to leave off, because that was 3 hours, and I don't know how long the next section is. So, this is where I'll leave it. This was fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you're lurking, thank you for lurking. And I will see you guys on Saturday, I guess. It was chill? Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, or night, whatever it is where you are. And I will see you next time on Catterday. Meaturday. See you guys next time. Bye.